And the fourth and final measure, the super talk ban, I'm against it. Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex. I'm an endurance athlete and coach based here in Brussels, Belgium. This is my YouTube channel where we are discussing all things endurance, running, cycling, but also nutrition, training tips and many other things. Today we're discussing the very new UCI rules that have been announced last week. And we'll go through all of them. I'll try to have some timestamps somewhere here. Yeah, so we'll go through all of them one by one. And then at the end of this video, I will share my opinion on the new rules and especially on the one that's the most controversial, the ban of the super tuck position on the bike. So here we go. The first rule, it's not actually a rule, it's a measure regarding riders' rubbish. So basically, race organizers will have to prepare zones to collect riders' rubbish bottles every 30 to 40 kilometers. That's something that seems to be obvious for me. Everything that goes in the direction of waste reduction and a lower print on this planet is fantastic, so I'm 100% in. The second measure that has been announced is linked to Fabio Jakobsen's terrific accident that happened last year at the Tour of Poland, where during a sprint, Fabio got thrown in the safety barriers on the side of the last kilometer zone leading to the finish line. He ended up severely injured, and the guilt, the responsibility was shared between Dylan Groenewegen, who basically pushed him into the barriers, but also the race organizer, the Tour of Poland, and the Tour of Poland being a World Tour race, so the highest level possible. And yeah, basically riders were complaining that the way the safety barriers were disposed was not optimal at all for their safety. So now the UCI has developed a series of measures that are supposed to reinforce riders' safety in that final kilometer area leading to the finish line. That's very good, although the UCI has also announced that those safety measures will only enter into force in 2022, which seems a bit odd to me because the very triggering event for those new UCI measures was this Fabio Jakobsen accident, and the fact that the measure only enters into force in more than a year seems a bit odd, but that's just my perspective. Now, the third measure that has been announced is a new system of license points for all the motorcycles and vehicles in general that are in the race sort of convoy. So that's also following up on an accident that happened last year. I think it was a Tour de Flandre, and that's Julian's Alaphilippe's accident where he basically hit a motorcycle because the motorcycle was looking around and did not see Julian arriving. So yeah, basically all the vehicles, motorcycles and cars that are in this race convoy will have to get an approval and a license that will be delivered with stricter measures than it is the case nowadays. Now the fourth and final measure we will be discussing here is the very controversial super tuck ban. So what is the super tuck position? Basically, it's a position that riders adopt on their bikes to improve their aerodynamics and to face less wind and air resistance. Basically, the riders go into that super tuck position, which consists of the rider sitting here on the top tube and trying to have their knees as close together as possible right here. And very often also putting much weight on the handlebar to try and get as compact and as low as possible to minimize the air resistance. Now basically, if the UCI decided to ban this position, is because of also rider safety. So on that principle, I fully agree with the UCI, and I do not see much objections to put forward. However, I would say that this super tuck position does not lead to as many accidents, if any, compared to the last kilometer zones where riders are sprinting and may get into contact with the surrounding barriers, safety barriers. Further, I would say that the super tuck position is very emblematic of certain descents. We have seen, for instance, I remember Chris Froome going down in this super tuck position, Julian Alaphilippe also in the 2019 Tour de France, where he was trying to basically catch some time that he lost on the uphill. And also, I mean, the ban of the super tuck position is very controversial because basically the UCI is going into the riders' interaction with their bikes. Now, I will give you an example, and probably that's something a bit exaggerate, but that's how I see it. Imagine the UCI banning going out of the saddle in certain, for instance, Cat 1 and Cat 2 climbs. What would you say? And that's for me pretty much similar. I understand this is for safety reasons, but I also see this as you know, the UCI going too much into how the rider decides whether he can or cannot handle their bikes. So here we are, guys, 4 measures, 4 UCI new measures, and I will give you, as a conclusion for this video, my opinion on each and every one of them. So the first one, the collecting zones for riders' rubbish and bottles more often on race courses. That's fantastic, I'm very much for it. The new safety barriers in the last kilometer leading to the sprint and the finish line, I'm also very much in favor of that, although I would have preferred this new measure to be implemented much sooner than it will be, i.e. in 2022. This should have been implemented as of the first races of 2021. The third one, the new license system for motorcycles and vehicles in the race convoy, that's also a good thing. And the fourth and final measure, the super tuck ban, I'm against it. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not in favor of the super tuck ban. I think that's something quite aesthetic, and I do not think that it endangers riders to the level that you should ban it. I think the UCI is going into how the riders interact with their bikes, and that's not what a governing body for a sport should do. At least that's my personal opinion. And I appreciate that bikes are not designed to be ridden this way. In the super tuck position, riders are meant to be sitting on the saddle and having, you know, the weight distributed in a certain way. That's how bike manufacturers are designing the bikes. Although I also think that riders that are riding World Tour races, who are basically trained and riding more than 25,000–30,000 kilometers per year, they know very well how to handle their bikes because they know them by heart, and they're able to manage the super tuck position for that 1 to 5 minute time in a descent. So yeah, that was my conclusion on the new UCI measures. Let me know down below in the comments what you think, how you reacted to those new measures. Are you in favor or against the super tuck ban? I'm very interested to know and to chat with you about it down below in the comments. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel. Do not be shy. I know you probably hear it very often in lots of videos, but I hope maybe my content is relevant for you, and if it is, do not hesitate to like it, maybe leave a comment and subscribe to hear more often about this type of content. In the meantime, I wish you all good runs, good rides, good swims for the lucky ones, and I'll see you very soon in the next video. Bye bye.